Hello YouTube, Totalhenry here. Welcome to another episode of the weekly show, What I'm Reading and Watching. That is not a weekly show. Does not come out weekly. I'm sorry about that. So anyway, this is a show where every week I talk to you about the manga and anime that I've been reading and watching, just like it says in the title at the top of the screen. So this week was New Year's. I wish you all I wish you have a happy New Year. May 2015 be awesome and good and fun. Um, so there weren't a lot of manga. The weekly series I usually read didn't come out. So I'm just going to hold off till next week. So I found some other series that I have been reading that I've just didn't talk about because otherwise the videos would go on too long, longer than they already do. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Initial D. This is a car racing manga that I have been reading for quite a while. I have volumes 1, 2, and 3, and then 9 and 10, and I am around chapter maybe 180. I don't know how many volumes that is. So probably maybe 15, 16 volumes into it. So I've been reading a lot of it online, and it's a decent series. The art is weird. The art of a lot of the cars along the track is very good. However, I find the art of the characters, as you can see, this is one of the characters right here, looks really weird. So I have mixed feelings about the art, and that's one thing I look for when I read a series. But other than that, this is an interesting series about a kid named Tak Fujari. Like, where is it? Right there. And it's about how he starts to be race cars. And this isn't NASCAR where they only make right turns and they go around the circle. This is downhill racing where really sharp corners, any mistake can cost you your life, can hurt you, can damage the car. So it's really cool. There's a lot of technical explanations about drifting and cornering. And even though I have mixed feelings about the art, the story isn't great. A lot of the car racing scenes look exactly the same. Let me see if I can find you some more pictures of it. Here's a good shot. So the art for the cars and the racing is really good, but a lot of the pictures seem repetitive. The series is over in Japan. There's 710 chapters I checked recently, and I'll probably keep reading it. It might be a few years before I'm done. But if you like cars, I would check this one out. So the next series that I read, I was only able to read the first volume, and I don't want to read this one online, plus I can only find the first 3 volumes, is a famous manga, Barefoot Gen. Now, sort of fun fact, if you've read Bakuman, another fantastic manga series, Mashiro actually mentions this, I forget what volume, but at one point in the series, he and his assistants are talking about, this is his assistants on rivers, I think. So this is towards the end of the series, probably after volume, maybe around volume 15 or so. They're talking about what they think is the greatest manga series ever. And they all mention different things. And then his partner, Takaki, says, "Oh, Masho, it's Tomorrow's Joe," because they said earlier in Volume 1 that's Masho's favorite manga series, but they were talking about the best one, and he said Barefoot Gen he thought was the best manga series. So that's where I heard of this. And this author right here, Kenji Nakazawa. This is his personal story, an autobiography of him surviving the atomic bomb in Hiroshima. And it's an incredible series. I've only read 1 volume. I've heard great things about it. It's a 10 volume series, and it's just about this kid named Gen who is living in Hiroshima at the time of the war. The bomb explodes, and it's about his life. Now, the bomb explodes in the first volume, but towards the very end of the first volume, so most of it is sort of build up and how his father was a traitor and people treated him badly. And I highly recommend this. The art is very cartoony. It reminds me a lot of Tomorrow's Joe, the art style, very cartoony. it might say it's bad by today's standards, but I love this so far. This first volume was incredible, especially some of the art where after the atomic bomb lands, and I got so sad and so emotional reading this, and I'm gonna try to buy the rest of these volumes as soon as I can, and maybe I'll talk about more because this is right here a fantastic manga series. Um, and this was even banned in Japan for a while because it shows the horrors of the atomic bomb and just what it was like, and things that the government tried to hide, I think. So yeah, really recommend this. Now, the next series that I've spent so long reading and is a masterpiece is Nariko Uesara's Monster. Now, if you're a manga fan, you already know that this is fantastic. The volumes are hard to get. This is the new 2-in-1 edition, volume 1. I picked this up not knowing if I was going to like it. I read it, I loved it, and then I just had to read online. I had to finish it, and I finished it in like a few days. This is a fantastic series. I would recommend this to anyone. This is about a doctor who he's unsatisfied about how he's a brilliant brain surgeon, Kenzu Tenma, and he's unsatisfied about the way the politics are run and you treat the famous people rather than the people that came first. So one day he decides, I'm not going to treat the mayor. I'm going to treat this poor kid that got shot because he came in first and he's about to die. So he treats the kid first. He saves the kid. His superiors get mad at him, and instead of being on the track to being like hospital director and great things and chief of surgery and all that great stuff, he's allowed to work there, but lower position, lower pay. People don't like him. Then those people get murdered. Everything looks great for him. Then, like 9 years pass, and you find out that the boy that he saved instead of working on fixing the mayor is a serial killer and was possibly the one that killed them. And it's about this Dr. Tenma trying to track this guy down because he's wanted for these murders. They were framed on him because he benefited from all of this. And you find out about the horrible conditions this kid was brought up in. And there's so many interesting plot devices and characters. You don't know who's going to die, who's not going to die. This is a fantastic series. And I have a bookmark right here, if some of you have noticed. And because I wanted to share with you in this first volume what I think is one of the saddest moments I've ever seen in manga and anime and from everything. So this is a scene where Tenma, this is 9 years later, he's the chief of surgery, everything's going well for him, he has a great career path, and he's sitting outside here, and he is talking to this patient. And they're sort of talking. I can hold this up if you want to pause this and read it. But they're talking about just how it's nice. He's talking about how he decided to save the boy instead of the mayor. Now he always wants to save people. And the guy starts talking about how we're the same age. You saved my life. And he starts talking about why he was a bank, or why he was like sort of a locksmith that worked for robbers. That was his job. He's the guy that would unlock the doors. And he says down here that he wanted a cuckoo clock, and he broke into a place just because he wanted this cuckoo clock, and how he got caught. And then right here, sorry about this, right here, he is crying just because he wanted the clock. I'm having a hard time with this. Right here, he just wanted the clock, and that's all this poor guy wanted. And he just wanted a cuckoo clock, but he was caught, couldn't get it, and he then became a criminal. And I'm not going to tell you something happens to him. I don't want to tell you. Maybe you figured it out from the tone of my voice. But that scene was... This is only in like the first volume, and it's so sad. And I recommend this if you love dark thrillers or even manga. Everyone should read this series. Now, lastly, this is what I'm reading and watching. So watching, in this case, refers to anime. And the anime that I've been watching is Pokemon. That's usually what I talk about here. I don't always talk about anime. So I've been watching the second season of Pokemon, the Orange Islands. And what I want to talk about here is I've just met the character Tracy. Now, growing up, I watched a lot of Pokemon, but somehow I missed the Orange Island episodes, and I never really saw episodes of Tracy. He was in a Pokemon movie, I believe, the one with Mewtwo, the very first one. Was that Tracy? No, he was in the Powers of One with Lugia, Moltres, and Articuno, Zapdos, all those flying birds. And I don't know, I didn't get a good sense of his character. So I just met Tracy in the anime, and so far my impressions of him is I like Brockbar. He's an interesting character. He really loves Professor Oak, and he sort of invited himself on this journey. He's a lot more flamboyant and talkative than Brock. He seems to know a lot. These are just my first impressions. I've only seen one episode of him, and I'm sure once I keep watching, I will grow to love him. But right now, he kind of gets on my nerves. I would prefer Brock more, but no, this is a welcome change of pace. I've never seen this. So, that's it. I am trying my hardest to have these videos out every week. I'm sorry. I will keep reading some good manga so I can give you interesting new series to talk about. I always have old ones that I can pull out and talk about, like Initial D, and there's lots of other series that I read, not necessarily weekly, but I still read every so often, so I can talk about those. Let me know if you want to hear me talk about other series or animes I should check out, and that's it.